Hello everybody, Mr. Beckstrom here, and today we're going to be talking about Chapter 1-3. This is an introduction to percent. We'll be looking at how to convert different numbers to different forms, percents to decimals, fractions to percents, all of those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let's take a look at converting decimal numbers to a percent. So in order to do that, we're basically going to move that decimal point 2 places to the right, which is the same thing as multiplying it by 100%. So look at the following examples here. On the left, we have all of our decimal numbers. We move the decimal place 2 places to the right, and if you don't see a decimal place, that's a whole number, so we assume that it's going to be after the last number to the right. And if there's nothing there, we add zeros like we did here. So you can see with each one of these decimal numbers, we get the corresponding percent by moving the decimal place 2 to the right. So why don't you try a few of these? I wrote some down here. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you come back, we'll see how you did. So to convert it, we just shift that decimal places 2 to the right. So 2 to the right, 1, 2, we get 93%. 2 to the right, 1. Since there's nothing there, we add a 0, so 1,040%. 1, 2, we still have a pretty small number there, so that's 0.54%. And we assume the decimal place is right here, so 1, 2, we add 2 zeros, and we get 1,257,800%. All right, converting fractions to a percent. So to rewrite a fraction as a percent, we first change to decimal form by dividing, then we multiply by 100%. See the previous slides. That means we move that decimal place 2 to the right. We make sure that we convert any improper fractions to proper fractions. Make sure you convert any proper fractions to improper fractions before doing that. And if we have any repeating decimals, go ahead and round that to 4 decimal places. That's 4 places to the right of the decimal before doing the conversion. So the first one, we have the fraction 3/4. So we take the numerator, we divide it by the denominator, we get 0.75. And then to convert that to a percent, we just move the decimal place 2 to the right, so that's 75%. 7 over 20 is 7 divided by 20, which is 0.35, which is 35%. 1 1/5, we can convert that to an improper fraction by multiplying the whole number here by the denominator, adding the numerator, and putting it over the denominator. So 1 times 5 is 5, plus 1 is 6 over 5. That's how we got the 6 over 5 here. Then we divide 6 by 5 to get 1.2. Then we move the decimal places 2 to the right to get 120%. And lastly, we have 5/3. So 5 divided by 3 is 1.666, and that goes on forever. That's repeating. So we're just going to round to the 4 decimal places. So that's 1.6666. Technically, if we're rounding it, this last one should be a 7. That's all right for this purposes, and then we're going to get 166.66%. All right, so try a few of these, and then when you unpause, you can check to see how you did. So this first one here, we divided to get the 1.75 and then converted that to a percent. So 7 divided by 4 is 1.75. And 175%. We converted this proper fraction into the improper fraction, and then we divided. 7 divided by 5 is 1.4. Move the decimal places over 2 to the right, and you get 140%. 8 divided by 3, once again, we get a repeating decimal. 6 is going out forever. We're going to stop at the 4th decimal place, and then to convert that to a percent, we move that decimal place 2 to the right, so you're going to get 266.6. Technically, that should round up to 7%. And the last one, 5 1/3, convert that to an improper fraction by saying 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16 over 3. That's how I got my 16 over 3. And then we divide, we get a repeating decimal. We just stop at 4 decimal places, and then we move that decimal point 2 places to the right to get 533.33%. All right, converting percents to decimal numbers. So in order to convert a percent to a decimal number, we're going to change the we're going to divide by 100%. This is the same as shifting the decimal point 2 places to the left. If a fraction is part of the percent number, write it as a decimal number before dividing. All right, so the first one, 100%, that'd be the decimal place is right here, so we move it to the left. That gives us 1.35%. We're going to move that decimal places 2 to the left. Since there's nothing there, we put a 0. That gives us 0.0135. And remember, we just usually put a 0 in front of the decimal point if there's nothing there, just to, sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. But for this class, we'll put the 0 there. 1,753%, we just move the decimal places 2 to the left. We get 17.53. The last one, we have 1 4/5%. We're going to first convert that to an improper fraction. 1 times 5 plus 4 is 9 over 5. That's how we get the 9 over 5. And we just divide that. We get 1.8%. Move the decimal place 2 to the left. And we get 0.018. All right, so why don't you try a few of these, see how you did. And we'll go over those. So you can pause it now if you'd like. All right, so the solution, remember to convert. We're going to divide by 100% or move the decimal place over 2 to the left. So this first one, the decimal place is here, so dividing by 100% moves it 2 to the left, so that's 1.33. 1.5%, really we should know that's 1.5%, which is here. But if you didn't, or it was a little bit harder of a problem, you could convert that to an improper fraction by saying 1 times 2 plus 1 is 3 over 2. That's how I get my 3 over 2. Divide that out, you get your 1.5%. Move the decimal place 2 to the left, and you get your 0.015. 55 1/3%. So these ones are a little bit trickier, and they're going to take a little bit more time. So make sure you go over this. There's lots of videos out there that go over some of these processes, like multiplying by the reciprocal of the denominator. We'll kind of go through it quick here, and if you have any questions, I can certainly post some videos for you to review some of these old things that you probably have forgotten, or maybe you never learned in the first place. All right, so 55 1/3%, we're going to convert that to an improper fraction. 55 times 3 is 165, plus 1 is 166 over 3. That's how we got this. Now, we're going to divide this number by 100. So we're going to put this in the numerator. Remember, this is kind of the same thing we did with the other ones, and we're going to put that over 100, but we're going to actually write this step out because it's going to be, since this is a repeating decimal, we actually want to get an exact answer and not just round it. So once we get this number over 100, if you go back to here, you'll see that we want to put it over 100. All right. So we go back here. Now, when we have a fraction in either the numerator or the denominator, what we can do is we can multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. The reciprocal is you flip it. Now, technically, 100 is the same thing as 100 over 1. So if you flip that, you're going to get 1 over 100. So we take the numerator, which is 166 thirds, times the reciprocal of 100, which is 1 over 100, and then you just multiply the two tops across and the two bottoms across. You get 166 divided by 300, which reduces to 83 over 150. Once again, kind of a lot of moving parts there, but you do it step by step and you understand each step, it shouldn't be too bad. And then the last one is 0.025%. divided by 100% just moves that decimal place 2 to the left. So we're going to get 0.00025. All right, and lastly, converting percents to fractions. So to write a percent number as a fraction, form a fraction with the percent number as numerator and 100 as the denominator. Then rewrite this fraction in lowest terms. So 60% is 60 over 100, which reduces to 3/5. 225% is equal to 225 over 100, which reduces to 9/4. And 10 1/3% is equal to 31/3. We do that by converting it to an improper fraction. 10 times 3 plus 1 is 31 over the original denominator, which is 3, so 31/3%. We're going to put that over 100 like we did before, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did last time. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. So it's the numerator times the reciprocal of the denominator, so 31/3 times 1 over 100, which is 31 over 300, and that is in its reduced form. All right, so try a couple of these and see how you're doing, and then we'll go through the solution. Okay, so to convert, we put the percent number as a numerator over 100 and simplify. So 32% becomes 32 over 100, simplifies to 8 over 25. 0.0058% is 0.0058 over 100. Now, in order to get rid of the decimal places here, we can multiply both the top and the bottom by 10,000. That will move the decimal place 4 to the right. So if we multiply the top by 10,000, we get 58 because 1, 2, 3, 4. And then since we multiplied the top by 10,000, we have to multiply the bottom by 10,000. 10,000 times 100 is 1 million. And then we can divide both the top and the bottom by 2 to get it in reduced form, 29 divided by 500,000. All right, and the last one here, we're going to convert this 103/8 to an improper fraction. 103 times 8 is 824, plus 3 is 827 over 8. That's how we get this improper fraction here. Then we're going to put that over 100. Once again, we're going to multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. And we're going to get 827 over 800. And that is in the reduced form there. So let me go over just a couple of quick things with you. If you're using a calculator, we can convert decimals to fractions, and it'll put it in the lowest fraction usually for us. And if you're using a graphing calculator, it's usually under the math function, and you'll see like a decimal to fraction or a fraction to decimal, and you can choose that. If you're using the TI-30XS, which is the one that I'm using right here, let me go ahead and put that on the big screen. All right, so if you're using this calculator right here, this is the one that I recommend using. You can either pick this up at the bookstore, or I've seen them at Walmart. They're about $16, not too bad. But if you were to, for example, do 2.5, enter. So you've got like 2.5 there. Now if you want to convert that to a fraction or vice versa, there's a button here. It's the little double arrows right here. You click that and it'll convert it to a fraction. If you click the double arrows again, it'll convert it back to a decimal. So it's real simple to convert back and forth. All right, that's it for today. If you have any questions, make sure you give me an email. Shoot me an email or give me a call. All my information is on Moodle. Thank you and have a nice day.